Hello everyone, please come in and take your seats. My name is Mr. Lindgren and I will be your teacher for the foreseeable future. Full disclosure, I have no degree and no experience teaching the youth, but at this point, American teachers are paid so poorly and treated so that, you know, they'll take anyone with a heartbeat and no record, and I have one of those things. I'm gonna be completely honest with you all. For the entirety of my high school and college career, I did not read one book. Didn't crack a book. Don't know if that's something to brag about, but I got through. But you know what? I got through all of high school with relatively good grades. I got a 1650 on the SATs back when they were graded out of 2400, and I got all the way through college and got a degree. And I'm a moron. But how did you do it, Papa Tug? How did you manage to get through all that with such a high degree of tomfoolery? Well, instead of teaching you what an imaginary number is or how clouds are made or some shit, I decided to go a little different with my syllabus today. Today I'm going to teach you something far more important than learning, which is, of course, pretending like you learned something. High school isn't about learning as much as you can before college. It's about minimum input and maximum output. It's about managing your amount of effort with your mental health. And at the end of the day, it's not about learning how to be a good person, it's learning how not to get caught. Buckle up, kids. Today we're gonna get your grades up without you opening up a single book, kind of like your hero, me, Big Tug. Okay, so I want to toss up a disclaimer before we really get into the thick of things. Cheating is not something you should ever fully plan on doing. Like, you shouldn't see a test on the horizon and just be like, oh, well, I'm just gonna cheat on that. It is far more efficient to just skate by with a high C, low B than get caught cheating off the nerd next to you. It's a very risky game. It is not a sustainable plan. You will be eventually caught, and depending on your high school, you'll be punished adequately. I mean, I went to a Catholic all-boys school, and listen, hey, I get it, okay? Not very cool of me. But if you got caught cheating, they'd friggin' pick you up by your ankles and slam you against the wall. And I'm only exaggerating a little bit. You just need to know that cheating should be your last tool in the toolbox when it comes to not failing, and also should be done with extreme caution, and also shouldn't be done at all. This video is for educational purposes only. Wink. Ding. But let's not act like we all haven't been there before. One study that surveyed 7,000 school kids said that 95% of them admitted to cheating on a test or homework and or plagiarizing or whatever the f. And now they got programs that search for stolen words, so plagiarism isn't really worth it anymore. Plus the internet's full of bots. You're probably getting bad info anyway. So I'm just gonna give you all of the methods I used in high school to get out of a test I didn't study for, and maybe you can put your own fun little spin on it. And maybe you don't do it at all. I don't know. I'm not your mom. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. So first up, we got the good old-fashioned Morse code method. So this method only works on multiple choice tests, and you're also gonna need a smart nerdy friend who's really chill and is gonna let you get some help. So if you don't have any of those things, just skip to the timestamp. Also, can we just appreciate the glow up from sophomore to junior year in these photos? I mean, good God, the ugly duckling has nothing on me. Talk about a glow up. I'm barely even recognizable. So let's set the scene. You walk into the classroom, you look at the board, and you're like, oh my God, there is a test today. I had no idea about it. So you get with your nerd friend and you devise a little scheme. You gotta make sure nerd boy is sitting somewhere relatively close to you. Closer the better. If he's right behind you, that's golden. And then the system is as easy as 1A, 2B, and so on and so forth. It could be a tap on the back of your chair. It could be the anxious foot tappings on the linoleum. Whatever you guys can devise in the short amount of time you have. I'd shy away from mouth noises like coughing or clearing your throat, because 4 distinct noises that you make with your mouth over and over again does raise some red flags with the teacher. And fair warning, sometimes you can get off track because the person who's actually taking the test is going to have to think about answers, and you kind of forget where you are on the Scantron, so come up with a symbol that means, hey, I need to reset, like a sneeze or something. But there you go, you've telepathically been given the gift of studying for the test without actually studying for it because your nerdy friend is really cool. Up next, we have a much simpler scheme, which I have deemed the pencil on the desk. A bit riskier and a bit lazier, but it is a tried and true method. It really only works on this type of desk. I don't know what this material is called, but it's like that shiny plastic stuff that a lot of high school desks are made out of. So before the test begins, snag a pencil and write on the desk in a really tiny spot that's going to be covered by the test pamphlet when it's finally handed out. Now don't go crazy with it, don't write down the entire study guide, but just, you know, jot down the things that you're having a really hard time remembering or figuring out. And then when the test begins, you'll have everything you need. Granted, you can, you know, check under the test without raising suspicion. Oh, but Tucker, what if the teacher comes by and notices my moral failings? Well, that's when science gets involved, baby. For some reason, when graphite is placed upon whatever material this desk is made of, it is easily wiped away with a little water and a quick hand swipe. And brother, you're cheating on a test. Your hands are gonna be clammy as hell, so you just gotta wipe it and it's gone. And yeah, the teacher might call you out, but there's zero evidence left. And with zero evidence, there's no case. And you'll be off scot-free, usually, maybe. Be careful, just be careful. And finally, we have the end-all be-all, which I have deemed the hot crotch. But just stay with me. This one's a little bit more malicious with its intent, but no one ever said cheating was easy. Same thing as before, write down everything you don't really have a full grasp on, but write it down on a tiny piece of paper. Make sure it's big enough that you can read it between your legs, because that's where this piece of paper is going. Now during the test, you just put your head down and act like you're thinking, but you're really reading a piece of paper between your legs. It's very non-suspicious. But if the teacher does notice that you're glancing down a little too much, well, that's when the fun begins. Teacher starts walking towards you, you take the piece of paper and you shove it deep in the gooch. Then you put your hands up and with all sincerity, you look them in the eye and you say, go for it, dude. Go for it. Now the only way they're gonna catch you cheating is if they're gonna catch a case themselves. If they really want to make a big deal out of this, they can, but at the end of the day, most teachers are just trying to stay alive. So it's a pretty good method unless they make you stand up. And by that point, it's creepy enough, It's really mean to do it to a teacher, though. I wouldn't suggest doing this unless you hate the teacher. And that's just one of the multiple ways you can get by without actually studying. There is like Quizlets online, because a teacher will use the same quiz year after year and other students will put it up on the internet, but you don't want to take things off of the internet. The internet is full of malicious people who want nothing more to do than to profit off of your fear and your personal information. Ad segue accomplished. Hey, by any chance, do you guys know what data brokers are? Data brokers are these super cool, not evil people that obtain your personal information through nefarious means and then sell that personal information for financial gain. So, super awesome people that don't suck at all. As you know, online harassment has become all of the rage in the past decade, and these data brokers are stoking the fires of doxing and stalking. And then when you have the gall to say, hey, I don't like it that when I Google my name, my address, my place of work, and my family members all come up, they say back to you, pay us, we'll take it down, otherwise screw. It's a money racket, they just want to extort you, and I challenge you to Google your name with the word address after it and see what comes up. It is terrifying. Well, let me introduce you to a little problem solver I like to call Delete Me. I genuinely was using Delete Me before they reached out to me because I didn't like the fact that my address was out there when you Googled my name, so kind of a bummer because I probably could have gotten a discount, but now I'm gonna be genuine in the ad read, so that's good. Delete Me takes on the laborious task of asking all these data brokers and web pages to take down your personal information and does your best to scrape it all from the internet. This gives you peace of mind from any creeps on there that want to harm you financially or physically because you had a bad take on Twitter. And they also provide a family plan if you have a family, because whenever a data broker gets your information, they often get your entire family's information, which is once again super cool and not creepy at all. They work tirelessly, they do not tire to get everything about you off the internet. And even when you think the job is done, it's not. They keep working because they will keep posting that stuff. Because data brokers don't stop, because they are scum. They are scum. So head to joindeleteme.com/BigTug and use code BigTug for 20% off consumer plans. Remove your personal information from the internet and sleep soundly knowing that the crew is fighting for your privacy. Now, despite what you may have heard, teachers are actually human beings. They have dreams and lives and all that good stuff. That being said, any teacher, like any person, can be manipulated. They are malleable, like a gold wire. They can be fully bent to your will, and you can go the method that I see most children do nowadays, where you just torment a teacher over the course of years so they lose all, aspirations and they go absolutely crazy. But that doesn't help you when you fail a test, because they're not going to help you back. So instead, I suggest going the route of schmoozing your teacher to get everything you need out of your academic career. Now, I want to make it clear, schmoozing is not brown-nosing. Brown-nosing is a terrible thing that nobody likes. Brown-nosing not only isolates you from the rest of your class, but it also kind of makes the teacher hate you a little bit. And you might think the opposite, but they really are sick of your shit. I don't know what you think you're doing by ratting out your other classmates and, kissing the teacher's ass every day, but I want to let you know that your teacher respects you less than the burnouts in the back of the class who haven't turned in their homework once. But Tucker, how do you schmooze a teacher? Well, I have compiled some of my favorite methods that I've used throughout my high school career. Number 1, actively pay attention to them. This one seems corny, but a lot of people don't understand the power you have when you actually listen to someone talk. And I don't mean what they said about the Civil War. I'm talking about the moments in class where they start talking about their own personal lives. Like when there's a few minutes done with class and the teacher's done with their lecture and they just start talking about like Megadeth for some reason. And you gotta jot that down in your mental notebook. And then on your ride home from school, put in your earbuds and go to Spotify and listen to Megadeth. And you probably won't like it. It's pretty jarring, but get a familiarity with the subject. But now you have a little something you can relate to him with at the beginning or end of any class. Then you walk up to him and say, hey, Mr. P, I just listened to Megadeth for the first time. They're pretty intense. Have you ever seen them live? You will watch that human being open up like a Legend of Zelda chest. And then when you fail a test or you forget a few homework assignments, they're going to be a little bit more lenient to you in terms of helping you out with extra credit. It works 9 times out of 10. Another example of active listening, try and glean their political affiliations through their lectures and day-to-day conversations. Now, this shouldn't be that hard to do. After 2016, people tend to leave their political affiliations on their sleeves, but it goes a long way when you're writing a paper for a teacher. If they're a hardcore liberal, just talk about the Marxist influences in Fahrenheit 451. If they're a right-wing nutjob, just relate Homer's Odyssey to Rush Limbaugh's radio career. Teachers can only be unbiased consciously. Once you slip into the unconscious part of their little rat brain, your grades will shoot up to the stars. Now, yes, you're gonna have to leave your own political beliefs at the door, and I understand as a self-righteous teenager that's gonna be pretty hard, but it's important to do, and it's an important lesson to learn because you're gonna be doing that every day in your adult life. Another great option, which is a little less labor intensive, but a little bit more brown nosy, but you can find the good limit, is just bring your teacher food. Just bring them food. They're human. They're gonna enjoy that. Usually aim for homeroom or first period classes where you can get them breakfast, because every teacher is dying for a cup of coffee at all times. Doesn't matter when, they want coffee. Just do a nice dunks run for your teacher, get a cold brew, regular sugar, regular cream, a couple of donies, or whatever you do in your part of the country. I'm from New England, obviously. You might think this is corny, but we're talking about results, and I have never not once got results from doing this. Just make sure you do it with a teacher who's willing to be bought out. A lot of the greener, newer teachers who are just hitting the workforce for the first time, they still have morals. But once you get a seasoned vet, they'll take bribes all day. All day they will take bribes. Every day of junior year, I showed up late to homeroom because I gave Mr. Hastings 2 glazed donuts and a coffee, and he would just let it slide. Good people can be bribed. And another great way to make sure homework doesn't get assigned and that nothing gets done in class is to simply get the teacher going. Just get them riled up. I'm not saying be a dick, but getting the teacher going is an art form that some students master with a little bit of practice. Once again, it depends on the teacher, but every adult human being has 1 or 2 topics that will just make them start rambling like an insane person. Just in the middle of class, despite whatever topic the teacher is trying to divulge into, just raise your hand and simply say, "Hey, Mr. Monroe, how come some people on the internet say dinosaurs aren't real?" Then watch his face bubble with red anger as he flickers back to his paleontology degree, as he screams at you that those conspiracy theorists on Reddit are full of bullshit and that the Stegosaurus absolutely did exist. If you get them on a tangent that passionate for that long, nothing is getting done in the class because they have some points that need to be made and they will gladly make them to you until the bell rings. I actually used to terrorize my scripture teacher. Yes, I went to Catholic school. Shut up. But since scripture and religion is all kind of faith-based, there's a lot of fun questions you can ask. In just 20 minutes into any class period, I could raise my hand and say, "Hey, if God is so great, could he make a boulder so big that he himself couldn't lift?" No homework was assigned for a month. I would just put that man into a tizzy every week. And if the teacher's pretty cut and dry, just go to their Facebook. Don't stalk them, but like, you go on their face. I found out one of my teachers used to be a WWE wrestler. Well, not WWE, but he was like a wrestler. Not very professional, but I was just like, how was your days as a wrestler? Exploded. So excited to talk about that. So listen, there are a million ways to get by in high school, and one of them is just be a good student, but you're only human. You're gonna make mistakes. If I learned anything at my religious all-boys school, it's that expecting perfection is sacrilegious. If you were a god, you would not be taking a test on the human reproductive system. So just do what you gotta do to get by, and don't do anything I told you in this video. Once again, for educational purposes only, and entertainment purposes. Not educational. Entertainment. Fuck, did I say educational earlier? If you guys like this video, I'd gladly do a whole series on surviving high school, like how to deal with annoying classmates, and how to make friends, and how to get free food from the lunch ladies. So just like, comment, and subscribe if you, well, just like and comment. You don't have to subscribe. Please subscribe. But like and comment on this video if you want more of this, and I'll gladly make a whole series out of it. Because boy do I love helping / poisoning the youth. Pretty much what I was born to do.